Hi, everyone, and welcome to my I Love Learning podcast today, where we explore leadership, learning science, and workplace learning and personal transformation. I'm Dr. Gina Anderson, and I'm the CEO and co founder of Luma Brighter Learning. And I'm passionate about learning and that the small actions can spark extraordinary change. If you'd like to learn more about my work in learning science and workplace learning, please visit lumabrighterlearning.com. This season is all about the power of small, where we explore how tiny habits, small mindset shifts, and everyday learning moments can lead to meaningful transformation in your work, in your relationship, and in your lives. And I am really looking forward. Next to me is one of the most incredible people that I have met in the industry, Dr. Lana Henry, and she is here with us today, and she is a licensed psychotherapist, doctoral researcher, and trauma specialist based in Arkansas. She's the founder of Legacy Consulting and Wellness, where she works with high achieving professionals who are ready to understand themselves at a deeper level than success has ever required them to understand. Her work really sits at the intersection of childhood trauma, high achievement, and identity. She helps people recognize that the drive that built their careers is often began long before their boardroom. She is the author, and one of the reasons I met her is because I saw her book shared on social media. It's called The Cost of Excellence. And I read the book, and it's really impactful, and it's grounded in her actual research at the University of Arkansas, and it's written for any person who's built anything on the outside, like a company, while carrying something really heavy on the inside. What really moves me the most about her work is this belief is at the heart of it, healing leaders don't just change individual lives, it changes the environment, organizations, and the people they influence. Today's conversation is really about what it costs to achieve when we carry things when no one is watching, and how small moments of truth and healing can change everything. Thank you so much for joining my show. Thank you so much for being here and sharing the beautiful work that you do. Can you please just briefly tell us about yourself and your passion and really what drives you every day?
Yes, absolutely. Dr. Gina, thank you for having me. It's truly a pleasure to have conversations like this. This is my dream, and I appreciate you taking the time. And thank you for the lovely introduction. I'm Dr. Henry. I'm all of those things that you said, and I appreciate that. But what I do. Who I am is really what I do every day, right? I have
Mm,
a private practice here in Arkansas, and I'm in the clinic every day. And I'm
mm,
sitting across from these people who are high functioning, high achievers, who
mm.
have over time just kind of quietly fallen apart.
Yeah.
Um, they come to me and they don't understand, one, how did I get here, and what can I do?
Mm,
And
mm,
it's a scary space for them to be in. So it's a real honor and privilege to be trusted with that in their lives. But what drives me is closing that gap for them, right? Helping them
mm.
see how getting to where they are could be part of a not so healthy coping mechanism. And we all want to live a fulfilled life. So how can we close the gap between what they're presenting to the world versus sort of what they're carrying quietly at home? So
Mm,
um, yeah, helping them be sort of a whole person, right? So that
mm.
is absolutely what drives me, a little bit of who I am.
I love that. And, this season's all about the power of small and
Mhm.
how those moments can make such a big difference. Like, where have you seen this? Like, whether it's been on your journey or the journey that you've seen with people going through the struggle in your book? Like,
Mhm.
how does that change things for people when they live in that
Mhm.
small moment?
Yes, yes. So for me personally, it's not a moment, but sort of a collection
Mm,
of these similar moments that have happened over and over again. But it's me watching somebody that I love deeply struggle with this, right? Who
mhm,
these extraordinary achievements by any measure, hoping to find this safety and peace and self-worth, and then just achieving and not getting there, and then thinking the next achievement will get them there, and it not being the
mm,
case. And seeing that struggle firsthand is so incredibly difficult and disheartening. And success can't always fix that. Um,
Mm,
and so I thought to myself multiple times, but I thought to myself, if this is happening to someone like him, it's happening to other people.
mhm,
And people who have built everything they're supposed to build, everything that
mm,
society says, if you do this and reach this and create and build this, you're going to be okay, you're going to have made it, right? You'll be somebody, you'll be
mm,
safe and loved and cared for, and
mm,
have a fulfilled life. But they can't find peace inside of that. um, so that moment, or that collection of moments rather, made me realize that there's so many things in this world that I can't do anything about.
mm.
Unfortunately, there's so many things where I don't have the abilities and I can't be helpful, but this I can do. So
Oh, I
having
love
that
that.
having that clinical background, having that research data, and then just the lived experience, it really just
Mhm.
made me go, this is the thing. This is what you can do. That's where the book came from,
I
right? And
love that.
that is where this path of my career, that's how I've been set on this path, and I could
Mhm.
not be more grateful to be here.
Oh, I am so grateful for you. And I'm so grateful for the book you wrote and for recognizing that this is a hurdle.
Mhm.
I started this podcast 3 years ago because I had a truck driver actually say to me that he was depressed and, his fleet wasn't helping him. And then I started to talk to more drivers and I did research and I found out, like, honestly, like, the struggle is for everyone. And I think a lot of times, like, whoever is looking on the outside is thinking, okay, they have it all together. Like, they're a
Mhm.
leader or they own a company or they're a CEO of this great big organization and they're quietly struggling. And I think the work that you do is so fundamental because the power of our mind, I'm a learning scientist and I study the brain, it changes us. It changes us
Yes.
so much. So, what do you do? What do you recommend to, like, individuals, how these small moments can help them stay engaged and happy and keep learning? Like, what do you recommend and what keeps you happy and going?
Yeah, so small moments are everything. Our life
Mhm.
is made of small moments, and I think it's so easy to skip over those, especially the small moments that are hard or challenging.
Mhm.
And that
Mhm.
just does not serve us well. For me, these small moments that help me sort of stay engaged, and fulfilled is the growth that I see every day, not only
Mhm.
in the clinic but also in my own life, right?
Mm.
I've
Mhm.
never stopped doing my own work. I've continuously invested in my own healing and the quality of my
Mm.
closest relationships, and I think that that's so important. But what I've experienced from that work has just been profound.
Wow.
It's been such a way to genuinely connect with others, whether that be again in the clinic, with in my marriage, with my family, with my friends, with my child. I mean, it is everything for me.
Mm.
And there's something that happens, when you experience real healing firsthand.
Mhm.
Being a clinician is very difficult, and there's a lot of things that don't get talked about, but the most beautiful thing is to watch that healing start to happen, and then to get to
Mm.
watch it progress over time is just, I don't have words for it. But it doesn't just make me a better clinician, it makes me absolutely hungry to go facilitate that for any and everyone
Yes.
that will sit still and listen to me, and sometimes it's people that are just like, I don't, please, please, but I'm like,
Yes.
no, you need this, so not, it's not, no, no habits. They're just these small moments that sort of,
Mm.
accumulate, but they're everything. So,
It's beautiful. Tracy showed up today and gave us a heart, so I'm sending
oh,
love back
awesome.
to Tracy. I love that so much. Thank you for joining us today. It's so beautiful to come together in community and know that everyone has something they're going through, like, even
Yeah.
if it's invisible, like, and it's not top of their mind or even shown, people are struggling. And so to come together in these moments are so powerful. I'm
Mhm.
very passionate about it too, because I see how it changes our brain and how we're able to show up. And one of the things last week was Mark Phillips asked
Mhm.
me, he was really excited. He wanted to get a copy of your book. And so I said to him, I would ask you this, what made you decide to write the book? And, like, what have you seen from the impact so far?
Yeah. So, thank you, Mark, for the question. And I talked a little bit about my doctoral research, but I did a qualitative study, right? So, in
Mhm,
qualitative studies, you're really talking about you want the voice to be sort of highlighted.
mhm.
Again, on the childhood trauma and how that impacts the value systems. And I focused on corporate men; that was the population. But I sat with these guys, and they were very brave, and a lot of them were
Yeah.
reluctant to really like get in there. It was more of like, well, I said
Mhm,
I was going to do this interview, so I'm going to do this interview. But they were very brave, and they just described these lives that were extraordinary from the outside, but
mhm,
still they really struggled for the things that were in alignment with their values and really fulfilled
mhm.
them. But when I finished that research and I finished my dissertation, I thought, well, this can't just sit in some academic archive.
Yeah.
And I
No
don't,
kidding. Let's go.
yeah.
Let's go do that.
Right. Like I don't enjoy reading academic writing. I don't even like reading my own writing sometimes. And I know, maybe somebody does have a hobby of going through and trying to find amazing, writings in these
Mhm,
archives. But I felt sort of this responsibility to make it something digestible, real, and
mhm,
like accessible,
mhm,
right? To get in the hands of the people who needed this information. So that
mhm.
was always sort of like around in my head. And finally, I think I'd had a client who, it was a similar kind of struggle. And I thought to myself, wouldn't it be great if I could say, there's this book that you can take home and really, dig into this. And
Mhm.
I finally blocked some time off on my schedule and said, you're going to sit down and write this. You're going to do this.
Yeah. I love
So
that.
so I made myself do it. And, the impact so far has just been absolutely heartwarming because people from sort of all avenues of life and professions, different industries have said, thank you for just finally giving me language for something that either they have been carrying or their partners or
Mhm,
bosses or fathers or children, whatever it is, because we
mhm.
can't change it if we can't name it. And
Right.
that is that. I just can't even tell you what that does for the work and just selfishly for me, it makes me feel
Yes.
purposeful. And so, yeah, I'm really honored to have been able
Yeah,
to
you're
do that.
leaving the world better than it was,
I
in
sure hope
people's
so.
lives, and that is
Yeah.
true, leaving a legacy is so important,
Yes.
in our own drive and passion, and I can appreciate that. So next week, my guest,
Hmm.
honestly, is a woman in the industry, and she is a leader, a marketer. What should we ask Lindsay Markley next week? What should be our question to her?
Yes. So in my old life, I was in
Mhm.
logistics for quite some time,
Oh,
and
okay.
I know what it's like
Mm,
to be underrepresented in a space like that. So
mm,
my question for Lindsay was, with all this experience that
mhm,
she has in the industry, where women are historically underrepresented, right? What's
mm.
one small but like intentional thing that she does to make other women feel seen?
Oh, I love that. I love that. I can't wait to
Good.
hear what she says. Yes. It's so important. Everyone wants to be seen,
Yes.
whether it's a truck driver, whether it's a female anywhere in the industry, or whether it's a leader, right? We all want to be
Mhm.
seen. And I think that is really impactful in your book because I think a lot of times high achievers they aren't sure how other people are seeing them or how they can accept that positive feedback to make themselves move forward and feel better. So, what have you learned? Is there something you've learned that was either maybe big or small that like helped you approach this topic, or maybe
Mhm.
approached or changed how you thought about this topic?
Yes. For a long time, I think I come from a very small town. Not a lot of sort of, encouragement for especially women to kind of go out and do something. And I felt behind. I just can remember this
Mm,
distinctly from like, junior high school and
wow.
throughout high school going, are there opportunities coming from me? Am I going to know how to take them? Am I going to know what to do if they do come around? But it felt like everyone else had it figured out and they knew what they were going to do and
Mhm.
they had it together.
Mhm.
And what I didn't know then, and I think we all should talk about more, but was that quiet sense of not being enough, despite
Mm.
doing everything I should have been doing for, being a 14-year-old and 15-year-old, is one of the
Mm.
most common experiences,
Mm.
not only among high achievers, but I think just among humans, right? That's the
Mhm.
biggest fear,
Yeah.
that we're not enough. to take up space or to make something of ourselves. And so it just never gets talked about. And especially with high
Right.
achievers, it gets talked about in a way of, enabling almost like,
Mhm.
you should want to be a high achiever. And this is wonderful. Look what this person's achieving. And, I think sometimes we'll equate being a high achiever to being healed. And that,
Mhm.
couldn't be further from the truth. And so, but when I started doing my own work, kind of started to shift for me. I started to realize, what I was attempting to do, through my actions and behaviors. And then when I dove into my dissertation, and I sat with these guys, they said out loud kind of what I've been privately holding, I think, for a very long time. And even
Mm.
through my own work and doing like, going to school and growing up and doing it, I didn't distinctly say in my own therapy sessions, like, "Ooh, I don't feel enough," but it's just this thing that
Mm.
has always been with me. And so when these guys were saying this, I remember this quiet moment of recognition, like, I'm not alone, and I'm okay. And even somebody like this feels this way, and that's got to make
Right.
it okay for me to feel this way. It just felt so it moved me, and I was really proud to be doing the work that I was doing, and
Mm.
having done the work I had done, but also just so excited to continue on this path because
Yes.
this is exactly why nobody's talking about it like
I
that. And
know. I
I thought,
love
what a way
it.
to not change the world, but what can I offer? And like, this is something that I know I can do. So it was very impactful for me. And
So
it
beautiful.
changed everything.
Dr.
Yes.
Henry, it's beautiful. Have this little, I think I sent you one of
Yes,
these.
I have one of
Um,
those. Yes.
I love asking people this question. When you woke up this morning, what did you tell yourself? And you just like talked about it. It's like, do we tell ourselves we're not enough
Hmm.
and truly believe it? Or tell ourselves that you are a winner and truly believe it?
Hmm.
Can you honestly look at yourself and look at that and say, I am a winner. I am a winner. You are a winner. And I think a lot of times it's like you said, it's like this feeling of inadequacy and where that comes from and like you said, the trauma and like trying to overachieve and doing these things. But like if you just woke up and had the post-it on your mirror in the morning, I give these away. I haven't given widget away. You probably have one of the first or very few. I just got them printed. I have a nugget. Nugget's our main mascot. This is Nugget right here. I usually give Nugget away and it says you were a winner. But these messages we give ourselves are so
Hmm.
powerful because they're probably might be we think is our truth, but it's not really how the world sees us. And I
That's
think
right.
that's really beautiful how you wrote that and talked about that in your book. So from your perspective, if someone, which you may already do daily, if people come to you and they say,
Hmm.
I'm stuck. I've
Hmm.
lost my passion for learning because really
Hmm.
learning, right, is the seed of life, but they've lost their passion, or I don't know where I'm going to go from here. I've reached the pinnacle of my career. I've reached the top. I keep achieving, but I don't know what I'm going to do. What advice would you offer them to take the next step, to take the first step forward?
Yeah, I talk about this every day, and
I love it.
it's a conversation. People feel stuck. That's a common, thing that I hear, and I'm sure my family and friends get tired of me hearing saying the word narrative, but it is how you talk to yourself. And so, if someone comes, they tell me, I feel stuck. The first thing I'd ask is, well, what does that little voice inside your head say when you imagine what it would look like for you to move forward?
Mm,
Right?
mm,
Because for most people who feel stuck, it's not that they don't know what they want or even really like next steps to do to get what they want, right? But it's that
mhm,
moment when they reach for it that voice
mm,
speaks up, becomes louder, shows up, whatever it is for you, right? Um, and it says something like, "Yeah, but look at you," like
mm,
look what you've done, or look what you haven't done, or it's always something negative. What do you have to offer?
mhm,
And for a lot of
mhm,
people, that's enough to go, "Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I won't try." And what I want people to understand is, that voice is
mhm.
not it's not your enemy.
Right.
That voice is not your enemy. It's there to protect you. It developed
Mm,
for a reason. But what kept
mhm,
you safe historically, right? Maybe in childhood even, it doesn't always work for you in the same way in adulthood. It's so
Mhm.
important that we take a step back and go, what am I trying to do with this? Right. So
Mhm.
in a clinical setting, and what I ask my clients to do is I say, let that voice speak.
Mhm.
Sometimes we'll invite it into the room, and sometimes we set it down on this chair over here and we directly talk to it, but let it speak,
Mhm.
hear it fully, right? If it's
Mhm.
loud, hear it, give it its space. And then I tell them to say, okay, voice,
Mhm.
sometimes I have them name it, right? Give it a name.
Gotcha.
Um, you know, okay, Ed, right?
Right.
Like I hear you. And yeah, you're right. All of that happened. Okay.
Mhm.
But and now what?
Right. Oh, I'm gonna give you a great example of this. This happened to me. You're gonna appreciate this. I was traveling last week and I was super tired and I was at a hotel room and I have anxiety flying, so I had that as well. And I'm in the plane and I go to get my ear pods and I don't have them. I left them in the hotel room. And you know
Mm,
that voice in my head, it's like I beat myself up and I knew I was doing it. Look, I knew I was doing it and I heard the voice and I said to the voice, because I'm very attuned to my own thoughts, and I'm like,
mm,
I need to give myself grace. Number one, I'm traveling. I've been in like, I don't know how many states in the past month and countries, but
mm,
I was
mm,
tired. I had been working 16-hour days and I left them and I feel guilty because I don't want to buy
right.
new, but it's the voice you tell yourself. And,
Mm,
after you listen to it, it's like, you don't deserve another pair. I told myself that you don't deserve another pair. And you listen to that voice, it's like, give yourself grace, and telling yourself, okay, I recognize that I left those iPads or the iPods,
mhm,
and everyone does it. You listen when you become hyper aware of what you tell yourself, it impacts you. It definitely impacts you. And it's like everyone does it. No one is like attuned to it. It's like not it happens to everybody, but it's
everyone.
how you
Mhm.
it's how you respond and move forward from that. You let
Yes.
it go. I picture a stop sign. I think it's
Yeah.
powerful. You talk about strategies in your book. Um,
Mhm,
it changes the way we show up daily and how we feel. Our
mhm,
mind is the most powerful tool. And if people need to talk, and they should have a coach like you to come talk to, because we go work out. We go work our body, but we don't work our mind. And that is a skill that we all need to have. So I thank you for your work and what you do, because you change lives and you're changing lives. So tell us how people what would be your
yeah.
preference for people to find you and get in contact with you, and where can they get your book? I'll post it again in the comments because I had to delete
Mhm.
our last episode, but where can they find you and if they want to connect?
Yeah, so the easiest way to find me is social media, right? You
Ooh,
can look up Dr. Lana Henry, and I'm LinkedIn, Instagram, I'm on Facebook as well. Um, the book's on Amazon. It's also on Gumroad, but that's not as familiar. So Amazon's the most familiar
oh,
one. So the book is on
mhm.
Amazon. And then also you can go to my website and you can contact me through there. I would love to connect. If anybody has questions or concerns or just something they want to discuss, I'm so happy to help.
I love
So
that.
yeah, those
I
are the
love
easiest
that.
way.
So leave us today
Yeah.
with some lasting words of advice that we can put in our pockets, some
Yeah.
small advice, and take with us on this Friday Junior today.
Yes. So if I could whisper something in your ear, okay, from the most loving space, it would just be, I know this is all scary, and I want you to know that that's okay, right? Facing all of it, really facing all of it. Maybe that's something from your past. Maybe that's something you're worried about in your future, but it can be one of the scariest things that a person can do. But I promise you this, that by doing the work, right,
Mm.
what comes out on the other side of that will forever change your life. And it'll give you the freedom that you've been withholding from yourself for a very long time. So it's worth it. It's
I love
everything.
that.
Yeah.
It's
Don't
worth
be scared. Don't
it.
be
Don't
scared. It's
be
okay, but
scared.
don't be scared. Yes.
All
Yes.
right. Well, with that, let's not be scared and let's take the first step forward. Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank
Henry, for
you.
joining me today. You're beautiful, and so is your work inside and out. And thank you for changing lives. You do have a mind of a champion.
Thank you.
Until
Thank you for
next
having me.
time, you bet. Until next time, everyone, be safe, be kind, and we will see you next week.